Oh, good morning to the petty universe that is known as Longhorn Nation today. I've seen you petty people all on Twitter, social media, everything. I see. I don't know. I heard myself talking to myself. You guys are petty, and there, Alex. Everybody's here for one thing today. They are here for Aggie tears, and that's all that they want.
Well, okay. So we're gonna get to we're gonna be able to help them with it because we have Zachary Sim from Orange Bloods is going to be joining us just right here in a second. Our baseball writer and kind of we'll get to the bottom of all that, and I'm sure a bunch of this stuff will come up. We also had a 2026 wide receiver commitment yesterday that we're going to want to talk about. Some updates from Jason and Cody and Catch out in Jacksonville at the Rivals 5-star as their player check-ins yesterday. They're going to get on the practice field today, so their first time to see those reps up live and in action. And of course, it's a Wednesday. That means Anwar and I will have buy or sell. I have my buy or sell questions lined up.
We're going to have like a 4-hour show to get all these topics in.
Before we get into all that, though, what do you think? What do you think, Anwar? It looks like Zach has already popped in. Do you want to bring him on and let's talk a little bit about this? A little bit about all this big baseball news and these.
Zach's got a busy day today, so he's got a lot of things going on in his life. So why don't we just go ahead and bring him in? We don't even have to do anything special for him. Zach Sim, baseball guy extraordinaire. Good morning to you, sir. Did you get any sleep last night, Zach?
I did get a little sleep, but I will admit that I was up at around 2 a.m. Just checking the transfer portal and a couple of messages that were coming through. So yeah, it was a busy day yesterday.
Is this what you kind of said before whenever we were talking in Slack and or not? What is it? What teams? Whenever we were in there, you said since the beginning you thought that this was what you'd reported here on these shows is that it was going to wait till after the College World Series. Did you think it was going to be this soon after the College World Series? And I mean, didn't it? I mean, they just really made it obvious that like it was like it ends and then it's done. Did you think it would be that soon after?
The timing of the Monday drop of the release from CDC noting that Pierce was out, that was surprising. I thought for sure they would wait till the day after the CWS, just because, to your point, like it becomes really obvious that, look, one of our guys is still in the College World Series coaching, right? And even if they had waited till after CWS, it was still going to be that kind of thought process. But the morning of the CWS final, the Game 3 final, was surprising. Now, the fact that how fast everything moved after that was announced, no, that was not surprising. I mean, we knew that things had already been wrapped up the week prior. We knew that it was just waiting to be announced. And so, yeah, and that's just the way CDC works, right? He whacks them and then he immediately hires the next guy. So, or gal.
We already got a super chat that came in from Will Henderson just because of you, Zach. The best thing about last night, Nebraska fans not knowing that it should be happy that someone stuck it to Trev or mad that it was Texas. Texas is indeed Texas. Nebraska fans didn't know what to think, did they, Zach?
No, I mean, it was, Trev Alberts went to Omaha and was basically kept under like bubble wraps up in the suite, kept away from the fans so that he wouldn't be assassinated by Nebraska fans. And now A&M fans are going, wait a second, you can have him back. Like, we don't want him. So yeah, that's wild.
Did you think that, let me just ask you just about Schloss and what you like, what is it? So explain to me like I'm 5, okay? And I know that there's got to be a lot of people out there that are like me that don't follow the baseball program or just generally know as much about baseball and typically focus more on football, basketball, this kind of stuff. Tell us about him, where he came from, how old is he? Like I'm not saying his exact age, but I have a hard time telling if he's like a 40-something dude or a 50-something dude whenever I look at him. And what is his style of coach? And more importantly, how would that differ from what they've seen recently out of a guy like Pierce?
Yeah, so Sloss, he's 53 years old. So frame of reference, Pierce is in his 61, I think, right now.
Mhm.
When Augie Garrido, the last coach prior to Pierce that took over, he was 58. So he's kind of right there in that sweet spot of he's still, young enough to have a good tenure left in front of him, but he's also had some experience. He's got some age. He started out his career up in the Northeast at Elon. He started as a pitching coach. Then he was an assistant with Clemson for a year. Ended up taking eventually the UNLV job. That was his first head coaching job. He was only there for I think 1 year or 2 years before he got poached by TCU, and that was prior to CDC being at TCU. But
so he went to TCU, but CDC didn't hire him there.
Yeah, no, CDC had inherited. Well, like technically, I guess he inherited CDC as an athletic director.
So CDC knew him from his time at TCU.
They did, yeah. In fact, they were very, very close.
Okay.
Probably one of the not main reasons, but one of certainly the reasons that he was not selected as one of the coaches that they really went after in 2016 to replace Augie was because of the relationship he had with CDC and what they had kind of grown that program into at that point. So,
okay, and then all right, but just let me just stop you there. So I think after TCU he goes to A&M, right?
Yep.
What did he mean when he said, "I left my family to take this job"?
Yeah, so he not to get into all the personal details of his life, but he had a separation at one point from his wife, and it was kind of like he needed just a fresh start. And so he's like, look, my family's going to stay in Fort Worth, but I'm leaving town. I'm going to A&M and starting anew. And, he actually probably took less money by taking the A&M job. And he even said during the exit interviews in his press conference, he said, look, I didn't leave TCU because it was a bad program or that A&M was that big of a program. He said, I left TCU in a really good place. We've been in the College World Series 5 times. It's probably a better program where it is today. But he's like, I went to A&M because if it's on a 1 to 10 scale, it's probably an 8. But he's like, going from 8 to 10 could be something really special. And he views Texas in the same light, right? He knows the history and legacy of Texas, and he thinks he can kind of further cement his legacy and, round out his career here. So,
I mean, let me ask you this, Zach, and this might be stating the obvious, but I still want you to put it in a good perspective for us. How big of a blow is this to the A&M, baseball program? Because it looks like not only did they lose the guy for the World Series, which obviously seems to be obvious, right? But
yeah,
it seems like he's taking the entire staff with him. And then you're having to monitor the transfer portal. I mean, I saw you retweeting stuff. That's why I asked you, did you get any sleep last night? I mean, there was like one assistant after another that he's taken with him. Just put in perspective what's been going on there. And I just want to know, just from the specifics from the assistants to the overall as to what's going, how huge is this?
Yeah, I think you start with what kind of coach he is, right? Alex, you asked that. Schlossnagel's never going to be the guy that's going to be, known as the best baseball pure mind in the world. What he is known for is he's known for surrounding himself with top tier talent, whether it's players or coaches, notably coaches. If you look at his coaching tree, I mean, every single person that's been an assistant under him is damn near a head coach somewhere else. TCU, Ohio State, Texas State, UIW, kind of list goes on. As far as a big of a blow to A&M, it's massive. We're just a couple of days away from the transfer portal shutting, July 2nd. It's Schlossnagel and his top 3 assistants. So the recruiting coordinator, hitting coach, which is Nolan Kane, superstar. The hitting coach, Michael Early, who is extremely good hitting coach. And then the superstar pitching coach, Max Wiener. So he didn't leave anyone behind. I mean, yeah, they've got the analytics, director of player development. Those kind of foundational things are still in place. But from a pure X's and O's and, hands-on with the players, he took everyone. So that's going to be tough because what they're going to see is they're going to have to it's going to have to accelerate the timeline for going and finding someone new simply because they're going to have to manage that transfer portal, because otherwise they're going to end up in a situation where they're trying to go pick up what's left out of the transfer portal. And depending on who leaves, it has a drastic effect. They were prohibitively a top 5 team going into next year. So,
Alex, hold on a second. You said the transfer portal closes when?
July 2nd for baseball. That's the last day to enter.
July 2nd. And then that's the thing. Like I made the mistake with, on the show yesterday, but with the SEC, while they do have a policy against inter-conference transferring, that thing gets lifted though, right? If the coach leaves the program. That's correct, right?
Yeah, so that's how you saw the players from A&M go to Ole Miss when Fisher left, as an example. So
that means then if you're a Texas fan, you're also thinking like there's an opportunity to potentially pick up some Aggie players who may follow the coach in the portal, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful already that have said we would love to follow our coaches. These are the reason we came to A&M. We want to be with our guys. So yeah, I think there's provisionally they could add 3 to 4 massive pieces to the roster for next year.
Wow.
I mean, like frontline starters, and like these are guys that are all conference type players. So,
I mean, what? I have a couple. But let me just ask you that: what guys could be potential targets? Like, and at what positions?
Yeah, so I think if you start looking at the youth right on the team, just because as you get into the junior year or older, it becomes really harder to transfer, simply because of the graduation requirements. But you look at a guy like Caden Kent, who was kind of their mainstay, who stepped in for Braden Montgomery during the College World Series run. He was hitting darn near 500. He's certainly a guy that could follow.
And what does he play?
He plays second base or shortstop. He's kind of middle infield.
Okay.
He's a Lake Travis kid, so he's very familiar with the Austin area. So that always helps. Then the California kid, Gavin Grohovac, he's played third base. He's played left field. He's played kind of all over the place. He's more of a utility guy. He's certainly a name to watch just because he's a massive hitter. He was a guy that they were able to get on campus instead of go through the draft process, which was a big win for them. He hit 23 home runs. He hit close to 300 on the season. He's a frontline starter. And you think about, well, Peyton Powell's gone at third base. Here you go. You're tailor-made starter for third base. Another guy that they could look at is Caden Sorrell. He's a left fielder. He's a freshman. He played really strongly for A&M last season. Then you have a sophomore pitcher, Justin Lampkin. He's a guy that, if you look at the development under Max Wiener last year, you look at a guy that throws really hard, that had a hard time locating, to a guy that ended up the season as one of their top line starters. So yeah, of course, the big target out there would be Jace Lavalette. He hit 29 home runs, hit close to 300 or over 300. He's a for sure first round draft pick. He might decide to enter the transfer portal. So there's a lot of talent there.
Okay. All right. So just to follow that up, so you mentioned the pitcher, and like I said, this is coming from somebody that's that has a very, very, very narrow understanding of baseball in general. Certainly don't know much about the Texas program, et cetera. To me, it seems like their pitching is stunk for the last, like every time that I start to tune in, I'm like, what is happening? Every time I tune in, it's towards the end of the season. It's in these tournaments, whenever people start getting excited about it again. And it's like, I don't know if people have gotten hurt during the season, whether they've not been able to recruit pitchers, whether it's just hard to find. Like, I was talking to my aunt about this when I was up in Colorado, because she follows the program super close. She's on Orange Bloods and stuff. And she was saying stuff about how, I'm like, why does the pitching always stink? And she's like, because guys get hurt. So has that been what's happened, or has the recruiting not been good? Has the pitching coach not been good? Is this guy any better with this? You're on mute.
Yeah. Max Wiener, the pitching coach, was only at A&M for one season, but he came from the Seattle Mariners organization, and he's one of the hottest probably pitching coaches in the entire nation. And he's all about development. He's about the mental aspect of the game. But probably more importantly, he brings a different mindset and way that he goes about pitching and the way that he wants to coach kids. One of the knocks on Coach Pierce for a number of years was he's very regimented in the fact that he has more traditional methodologies. He's not as prone to using the analytics and not as prone to using some of the new age technologies. And that probably kept some arms away, right? So if you're not getting the top talent, you're kind of lowering that bar to where you can maximize that ceiling. And Texas has some kids that have some real talent. They certainly did deal with injuries. Will Mercer, even Ace Whitehead pitching injured the entire season effectively. Tanner Witt never getting back to where he was, and a couple of other guys. But I would say the biggest thing was just kind of the roster mismanagement when it comes to the pitching. They didn't have enough arms.
How is that excusable, dude?
It's not really. That's why you have a new head coach.
All right.
I was like, that's kind of why the guy got fired.
Yeah,
that's probably true. That's okay.
But I mean, that's like in all seriousness, like some of the roster mismanagement pieces around not having the pitching set up the way that Texas has been traditionally known for. It's one of the reasons of the trajectory of the program that was one of the variables that led CDC to where it is now. So.
You got a press conference at 11 o'clock, Zach, where they're going to introduce the new baseball coach. And I'm sure, they've already put the things on the Twitter as far as the assistants. Do you think at the press conference, his previous press conference is going to come up in question? Because it seems to be like the only misstep that he seemingly has made has probably been the answer to that question. And I know you gotta be careful because obviously it's a new staff. You don't want to piss off everybody, but in hindsight, did he handle that whole thing kind of? Could he have handled that thing differently, in your opinion?
I think so. He knew the question was coming, right? Simply because of the news breaking that morning. He had to know that the A&M media that was all in Omaha was going to ask the question. I think honestly at the time, probably the emotional aspect of having lost such a close game. I mean, that would have been his first national title. Mm-hmm. I honestly think that probably overrode his thought process and how he wanted to approach that. And so that's why you saw him like start to answer, stop, kind of restart, start whining it out, trying to like run it out. And then, he probably got mad at himself more than anything else. So yeah, I think he could have handled it better, but I mean, if you look at all the history of coaches, the Saban stuff at Miami, like everyone uses all the examples. Elko at Duke, I'm happy. This is my family. I'm not leaving. Well, he turns around and leaves, right? Like we've seen this numerous times, even not wanting to reference all the way back. But, when he left TCU for A&M, he explicitly stated, I'm not leaving. Like TCU is where I'm staying. And then he left. So I think coaches in general, like they need to go hire some PR assistants just to like train them. This is how you're going to answer this question. You're going to get it. And then, yeah, I absolutely think someone will ask that question in the room of, well, coach, you said, you gave your everything to A&M, that, you got upset during the press conference. Was this emotions or what was it? So he's going to have to answer it somehow.
Is there one, is there one pressing question that you would have for him about his vision for the program? Or is there anything that you would say that, today you would think that the program is different in this meaningful way than it was 2 days ago? Like what is the overarching sentiment here? What is the one thing that you think is sort of the most pressing change that is going to be coming to Texas baseball?
Yeah, I think the biggest question I have is, how everyone's in summer ball, or for the most part, everyone's in summer ball, right? So you got guys on the Cape, you got guys in Canada, Michigan, California. How are you going to get the team together to kind of make sure that y'all are all on the same page? Because you do have an abbreviated time period now. And then how fast is your team going to go, or your staff going to go look at the makeup of the current roster and where you want to see it in the fall? How are you going to attack the transfer portal versus existing players? And, what are the biggest needs in your eyes? I'm sure he's going to say, look, pitching is going to be our number one priority, just because we know they lost all of their starters, less Whitehead and Grubbs. So that's my biggest question, is just what do you want to see from between now and fall ball from the staff and from the team?
Before we let you get out of here, Zach, I had a question for you. I had a thought, and it's kind of a big picture thought. And this will kind of play into this, because for those who don't know, Zach Also knows a lot of people who are tied in with the collectives and NIL and things to that effect as well. So this is kind of a big picture thought for me, but and allow me to to talk it out. Is Texas finally at a point where they're not afraid to be Texas? In other words, there was always like this kind of dancing around stuff, and it seems like Texas is finally feeling comfortable of saying, you know what, we want to get the badass baseball coach. So you know what? We're going to go ahead and take him. You know what? There's NIL that's out there. And you know what? We don't give a damn. We're going to park Lamborghinis out there just to let everybody know that we've got that flex there. We can handle that. Like a couple of years ago, even though the end result didn't end a certain way, the Texas Tech had Chris Beard, who basically was putting that program on the map. And they're like, you know what? We're going to snag him as well. To a certain degree, in a lesser degree, you know, you take a guy that in Sarkisian, who was supposed to be the successor to Nick Saban, and they say, you know what, we're going to snag him. It seems to me, and I don't know when you talk to your guys, you know, behind the scenes, it seems to me I see more and more, Zach, that Texas isn't afraid to be Texas anymore. And if they're going to be the big bad wolf, they're just going to be the big bad wolf and just not give a damn, which I, for one, love. I mean, if you're going to be the evil empire, to be the evil empire. But do you feel like Texas is being more comfortable with just saying, you know what, this is who we are, and we don't care?
I do. I think that stretch of time when football was in such a bad position and they had those two ADs, you know, Perrin and Patterson, I think that puts such a bad taste in so many large donors' mouths and so many fans that I think CEC and LT and Hartzell have finally said, look, here's our plan. Here's what it takes to win. And we're going to put this in place. And when we get the opportunity or we see the opportunity, we're going to snatch it, right? Like we're going to go grab that opportunity. A great example, Schloss. Like, hey, we probably don't love the trajectory of our baseball program. What do we do? Well, damn, let's go get a top 5 coach. Okay, let's do it. And so I absolutely think it's kind of all hands on deck. Like everyone likes to joke, oh, well, unified Texas is a really dangerous thing. I think you finally have a full leadership from top to bottom that's unified that says, yeah, we're in this. We have the collectives like the One Fund. We know how to use it properly. We know how to organize it. And I think honestly, you're just starting to see probably the tip of the iceberg in large aspects. I mean, they haven't even got the big corporate sponsors in large part to roll through One Fund, right? A lot of it's been big boosters and, you know, the small donations. Once they start getting the corporate side of it in there, yeah, it's going to be massive. So.
Zach, I think we got to let you get back to it, man. You got some stuff to do. Hey, yeah. Can I just ask you real quick? I've been dying the whole time. You have those beautiful black buck up behind you. Yeah. How much meat do you get out of one of those things? And how do you compare it to Axis and whitetail?
Axis is way better than black buck. I would say black buck is a little bit on par with whitetail, maybe a little bit better. You don't get a ton of meat out of black buck, honestly. It's maybe 60, 70 pounds tops. Mm-hmm. So yeah, those actually came out.
Every time I see one, I'm like, man, do I just do? I mean, if I'm going to quarter this thing up, do I just cook the whole ham on its own? Or I guess you can get a good amount of ground out of that thing. Yeah,
you can get like, you know, tenderloins, you got the back straps and everything. And then, yeah, we did some black buck sausage, which was really good. Add some sage in there, and it was like an 80-20 mix. But yeah, they're good eating. Those both came out of Menard, Texas. So
Menard County, I can't wait to be back in Menard County. I will be back there, and I'll be back there at the very end of August, right before football season. All right, Zach. Hey, brother, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for coming on and talking some black buck, and also a little bit about this Texas A&M complete meltdown, brother. We should appreciate it. Do you want to tell them your Twitter, your X, all that stuff?
Yeah, my Twitter or X, whatever they call it these days, it's my name there. It's Zach at the Dish. Follow along. You know, obviously join Orange Bloods. We have got all the coverage, and we'll be covering the new staff and all the transfer portal battles that we'll have over the next month or so, and all the fun. So
was Zachary Sim just taken as a Twitter handle name?
So I used to travel a bunch for work, and so I had Where is Zach for a long time, and then started doing this, and I just changed it to Zach at the Dish. I never even thought to put my last name in there. So
last name, sir. We'll talk about it later. That's okay. It's just easier that way. Well, I'll convince you.
Let the man free. All right, brother.
All right. Good job, Zach.
We'll see you later, Zach. Peace,
Appreciate
man.
y'all.
All right, so there he is, Zach Sim. Thanks so much for joining, as always, and thanks so much to Texas Beef Traders. I mean, I can't talk enough about Texas Beef Traders. Have you been there yet? Texas Beef Traders, dude. Straight from Mason, Texas. The beef we just talked about, Menard, Texas. We're talking 1 county east of Menard, God's country, the Texas Hill Country. You can scan that QR code right there to get your beef with no antibiotics, no weird shots, certainly no mRNA vaccines, no vaccines, period, no cross breeding or no inoculations across different herds. Man, this is awesome beef. It's good for you. It's delicious. Even the ground beef there, dude, the ground beef there's $4 a pound, and you get 10% off when you use the promo code Orange Bloods off of anything, right? Just go there, go see Darren, go see Shay, go see Dan, go see these guys. They're going to show you a great time. They're going to give you a beer. They're going to give you some wine, some sangria. They're starting to do kombucha now. But just the actual experience of going in there and just having a burger, man, having a couple bites of steak, getting to try out some of this delicious food, you're going to see the difference, and you're going to know that you're done buying steak from the grocery store. You get 10% off. It's cheaper than the grocery store. And the steak you're getting at the grocery store, the beef that you're getting, it's not local for sure. And it's probably not coming from America. You don't know what's in it. It's certainly not all non-GMO. You got to go to Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. Tell them that Orange Blood sent you. You get 10% off that already low price. You're supporting a local business. You're supporting local farms, and you're putting better protein into your body. Texas Beef Traders. Go to Texas Beef Traders. All right. Anwar, you want to talk about Eric Sells Homes?
Yeah, sure enough, dude. Someone in the chat said Anwar's probably going to ask the questions about the press conference. I'm not. I'm in Dallas right now. I'm at my son's at a Dallas FC Dallas goalkeeper camp right now, so I ain't got a chance to ask all that. But if you're looking for a home in the DFW area, Eric Torres, Eric Sells Homes, he's got you covered. I tell you guys this all the time. If you ever bought a home, and I bought a few in my lifetime, most of these agents don't know what the hell they're doing. And I know you got a cousin and you got some kinfolk that say, I can do this. I just go over it. Don't do it. Eric Sells Homes, DFW, will take care of you, whether you're looking to buy a home or you're looking to sell a home. Don't get taken advantage of. Don't regret it. Now's the perfect time to get one. Eric Sells Homes, DFW. He's El Presidente himself. Make sure you check him out and tell him your favorite unk sent you. Go buy a home to celebrate Aggie Tears. Eric Sells Homes, DFW.
All right, so we got some buy or sell that we got to get to, Anwar. What do you say?
Do. How do I take out this QR code? Oh, yeah. Yes, that's definitely. You want to get into some buy or sell now?
Yeah, I'll go first because it's unless you were dying to go first, because this one links up with what we just had, Zach. Do you care if I go first? Okay,
go for it.
Okay. Buy or sell. Chris Del Conte has become the most recognizable athletic director in the country.
I'd probably have to buy on that one.
I was thinking about it, and I kind of thought that, but I cover Texas, and I live in Austin. But it's like Del Conte. It's like, man, and I know that my X feed is highly curated to bring me a bunch of. Clearly, it brings you what you click on and stuff. And when I see Longhorn stuff, I kind of click on it. So it's, but I do. I mean, I just saw all this stuff yesterday where it's like fan bases from other schools, and maybe this is just how it is. Maybe is this just how it is in the SEC, where you start to know other teams' ADs and you kind of clown on each other for your AD. Maybe it's a little bit of that, but it felt like it was the LSU guys and the Florida guys and stuff making the memes, making fun of the Aggies and having pictures of CDC with a little, how the little sunglasses come down and it says deal with it and all this stuff. And I'm just like, man, so does everybody know who CDC is? Is this a new SEC thing? Or is this just me sort of not, I guess I've never really been that interested in who other universities' athletic directors are. So, I mean, he was on Feinbaum
just a few weeks ago during the SEC spring meetings, right? So, a lot of people got exposed to him there. People got to, see him a little bit last year, obviously, for the playoff run that's there. And so, Texas continues to make moves. And so I think that the spotlight on Texas is getting bigger because it's the SEC. And so because of that, I do think that he is starting to, become really recognized. I mean, there are some guys who are mainstays, but I don't know if he's the most, but I could definitely say that he's up there now as far as people know who he is. And if Texas goes into this evil empire era, which it seems like it's poised to do, he's definitely going to be the face of it.
Yeah. All right. So that's a buy, right? That's a buy.
Yeah, no, I'm going buy on that.
As we just tick over 900 people in the chat, man. Thanks to everybody for being here. If you could please like the show, subscribe to the channel, we would certainly appreciate that. Again, 900 of you guys watching, over 900 now. It just keeps ticking up. So that should be 900 likes. 900 new subscriptions to the channel. Right on, more. So,
easy. Yes.
Please like the show. Like the show.
All right. So let's stay with that because I got a buy or sell for you, but a little bit of a big picture one. Chris Del Conte right now is the best AD in Longhorn history. By the way, you guys can feel free to answer that in the chat as well.
Yeah. And make sure if you're watching this later, man, make sure and give us your take on that in the comments below. I don't think that you can say that. Yeah, he hasn't won a football national championship yet.
They win it. He's stacking directors' cups year after year. I mean, that's a pretty high mark to be able to stack those directors' cups the way they keep doing it.
I'm not sure that I'm the best one to answer this, man. Like, I grew. My family all went to Rice, dude. Do you have any idea what it's like following Rice football growing up? That's what made me such a big NFL fan.
What it is to go to a school that didn't have a football team when you went there?
Is that what happened to you?
Yeah, USF didn't have a football team when I went to that program.
Okay. It didn't?
No.
How old is their football program?
Not that old. It's a game in like the 90s or something, like late 90s or so. Like Jim Levitt was the first coach. I didn't have a football program. I grew up an FSU fan.
Okay. Well, all right. So you grew up an FSU fan, right? It's like I grew up an NFL fan, even though I was from the Austin area, right? Like Western Travis County. Like I didn't really follow the Longhorns that much when I was growing up. So I did when I got to college, and that's so I kind of know DeLoss Dodds, Steve Patterson. You know what I mean? Like I'd say, dude, he looks all. I mean, I would not rather have any other. I think for right now, the situation he's in, for the moment he's in, I think that he's the best that Texas could hope for. But I don't. I'm not sure who the ADs were before DeLoss Dodds and stuff. Maybe somebody would have a better one than me. But I guess I would just, if I have to say one or the other, I'd say sell just because because of no football championship, and we know Dodds at least had one of those and a shot at one other.
Yeah, for me, Alex, I'm just gonna buy on this. Texas literally just won another Directors Cup again. That they, you can see it was tweeted out yesterday, and they're tweeting that out this morning. And then I think when you factor in. And I know the football, I won't hold a football component because overall they're doing great at all the sports. When you talk about the fundraising that they've been able to do, when you talk about getting this program out of the Big 12 into the SEC, like when you look at the stadium renovations and everything like that, and now having to manage NIL, things that, these are things that nobody else ever had to deal with. And he's being able to do that and navigate it and have success. I understand what has done, and I understand what the predecessors were, but he's better than all the current ADs at this moment. So if that has to be for me number one. So that's just for me that I'll give him the nod. And maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment, but for right now, I would give him the nod.
I think CDC is awesome, man. What other athletic director is gonna pick up a phone call from me? You know what I mean? Like it's just. I'm like, I have a question about something going on at practice, or I'm tilted the Bianco, shut it down right at the very end. I call up Chris Delcani, and he listens, and he at least pass you on the hand. And dude, he's a dude who, I mean, you can be a fan and call him. It's amazing. He's out here wheeling and dealing and just dealing with idiots like me at the same time, and every crazy fan there is. People in the chat saying that if he puts there are people literally calling him up and complaining that there's not grass in the stadium and stuff, and he's doing that. He's doing that as part of his job too, and on top of getting all this stuff done. So man, this is not me saying that Del Conte's not awesome, but what the people in chat are saying is that I have to look at the whole athletic program as a whole and not just as a football national championship, dude. I mean, football pays all the bills, guys. I mean, I think a football national championship's a big thing for an athletic director. It's like, I think if you ask Chris Delcani, what's the one accomplishment that he could have next year that would do the most for the program? I mean, wouldn't you say on more a national championship?
Oh, of course. But if you said, hey, he's part of the remember he inherited Tom Herman, him and and L-Type gets a lot of the credit for bringing in Sarkisian, but he's part of that. So now you can say like, well, this is also his guy that he's brought in that's bought Texas their first Big 12 championship in God knows, so many years, and they got them in the playoffs that before we expanded the playoffs. So you could almost say that he's got this football program in a state that it hasn't been in really since 2009.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. And gosh, man, creeping up over 1,000 people in the chat right now. Thank you to everybody. Remember again, please like the show, subscribe to the channel. We'd certainly appreciate it. And thanks so much to Specs, man. I love Specs, but they're the ones who bring us this Specs chat line. I'm going to Specs. Actually, right after the show, I'm going fishing with my sons for a quick hour. We're going to see if I can get a bass on the line for him. He got a little bit excited watching some YouTube fishing last night and made me promise to take him today. But after that, me and the son going to Specs because I am out of tequila and I want to go see my friends up at Specs. Let's go ahead and hear from them real quick.
Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
All right.
Speaking of Specs, Alex, hey, by the way, you like tequila. You ever tried like which Specs sells, like a 1921 Crema de Tequila? You ever had that? A
Crema de Tequila? No, it's got cream in it?
Yeah.
You're acting like you like it.
I tried it for the first time when I was in Mexico last week. My girl got me to try it, and I was like, "Oh, so this is pretty good." I'm gonna send you the link to it. You go to Specs, pick that bottle up and try it. It's almost like tequila meets Bailey's or something. It's really good.
I was gonna try this one today that my wife's been asking about called Lalo. This is apparently from here in Austin. So that'll be two new things that I'm trying. She's trying to get me off of this Casamigos and Hornitos stuff. Okay, let's go to the next one here. How about this one? Okay, so this is something. So the thing that surprises you most about this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen here, and it's from Catch's 10 Thoughts from the Weekend.
Oh, okay.
So this is what he wrote. And if you can't see it, it says. And it's so crazy, Anwar, how they've changed this thing up to where it comes right up on the screen now. But I guess you just have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I learned that lesson the hard way yesterday when I thought it was just going to be in queue.
Yep. Okay, so Athlon Sports released its preseason all SEC teams this weekend. Georgia tops the list with 17 selections, while Texas has 15, Alabama 14, Ole Miss 14. They're right behind the Dogs. So first team, they have Isaiah Bond, Kelvin Banks, and Jade Barron. Second team, C.J. Baxter, Anthony Hill, Malik Muhammad, Andrew Makuba, Burt Auburn. Third team, they have Ewers, Majors, and Ethan Burke. Fourth team, they have Amari Nyblack, Hayden Connor, Alfred Collins, and Trey Moore. Buy or sell, the thing that surprises you most about this is that Quinn Ewers is third team.
That does surprise. I think there's two things that surprise me. CJ Baxter as a second teamer, and then Quinn as a third teamer. Because if you told me Quinn as a second teamer, because I'm assuming Carson Beck is number one at quarterback, right?
I just tried to click on the link just now just to see. Oh wait, no, here it is. So yeah, I'm assuming it's Carson Beck and Jalen Milroe are 1 and 2, but I haven't. So let's see. I'm trying to get to the link. Oh, I got to scroll up. Okay, so yes, Carson Beck is number 1. Number 2 is Jalen Milroe. It's just what I thought. Dude, I mean, did you see what Jim Nagy was saying about Milroe yesterday?
No, I did not. What did he say?
They were talking about somebody who ran I forgot. He was saying he was at one of these practices with scouts and all this stuff like that, and they were talking, and I forget the name of the player. It was one of the DBs that they were talking about. Who's the and they were doing some timing on him, and he was asking he's got to be the fastest guy on the team, right? And the scouts told him no, second fastest. And he's like, who's the fastest? And he said Milroe. So Milroe is that big, and he's a quarterback, and he's the fastest guy on the team. It feels like he's picking up some steam. He's going to be at the Senior Bowl this year. I can almost guarantee it. But so
there's an argument that could be made for Milroe. I mean, there's an argument as far as a dual threat guy, but I think he got better as a passer as the year went along. I mean, I can't ignore that he got benched last year after the Texas game, but didn't get the chance to play against USF, and that was life or death for them. I guess there's an argument to be made for that, and I guess third team is not the biggest insult in the world, Alex. I mean, it's not so egregious that I would say, cancel your subscription app. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's egregious. So now that we talk it out and I think about it a little bit more, when I get past the initial, what the hell? I'm like, I can understand that. I can understand the thought process.
Does it not surprise you at all that Jahdae Barron is first team SEC? You consider him that much of a game breaking, just complete weapon?
I mean, did they do a nickel? Did they go 5? How many DBs did they have?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so let me just see. So on the defense, they have 5 DBs. Yep. Maxwell Hairston, Kentucky. So he might be because Malachi Moore, Alabama, and then you have Billy Bowman. And I think Malachi Starks from Georgia is a safety. So then that would be. Let me just see about Starks.
Yeah, I think
they're doing corner, safety, nickel. So maybe that's a little safety. Yes, Malachi Starks is a safety. So that's what it is. They're saying he's the best nickel in the SEC.
Yeah, I can buy that. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
And Chad Gibson has a good tweet here too. This the other thing that I thought is it feels like Anthony Hill should probably be first team, but you have to remember that. Oh gosh, they do have 4. So I was gonna say I was gonna say for sure, that Lawson from Alabama is gonna be one. I knew that Perkins from LSU was gonna be one, and you got to think that Stutzman coming back from Oklahoma is gonna be one of those guys. But I do think that Smail Mondon from Georgia getting in over. I'm not sure who this person is. The Georgia linebacker. I'd have to look and see whether or not his credentials would have him in over Anthony Hill. But I mean. We know how good Anthony Hill is, but I'm not sure that the nation knows quite yet. I think they're going to find out this year.
Yeah. Honestly, the thing that kind of stands out to me for a second, and he's not in the chat, no Sorrell mention.
Like I said, man, that guy needs to get a little bit better at getting home, right? I think. Yeah, I think he'll be better next year.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that third team, fourth team, something like fourth team is not even a fourth team. That's all I would say. That if anything, I'm like he's not even a fourth teamer. I would probably have to see what else they'd have in there. All right, I got a question for you. Kind of the topic of the day. My buy or sell to you. Schlossnager owes the Texas reporter an apology for his outburst the other day. Buy or sell?
I mean, in a perfectly just world that we don't live in, and nobody in history has ever lived in, right? Where where it's just like there's complete moral equivalency, and everybody does right by each other, and all the rest, right? I think that probably in that world, if you wanted to keep a fair, balance of what was right and what was moral, then yeah, you probably for telling a guy that you think it's not fair to be asking that question when you know dang well you're about to take the Texas job. It's a perfectly fair question. It's the only question. It's the only question.
Yeah.
But no, I mean we don't live in that world of perfect moral equivalence. Like we never have. Nobody ever will. And he doesn't owe anybody anything. He's an individual with free will who can do what he wants. So that's a weird answer, I guess. But I'm gonna sell. He doesn't owe him anything. If in a perfect world he would. But no, it's like I don't think he handled the question well. I mean, but we've been over that, and I agree with exactly what you and Zach, kind of that discussion that you and Zach had about it. But no, he doesn't owe anybody anything. He's his own man.
Okay, what do you got for me, Alex?
Oh, okay, I'm back up again, huh? Oh, how about this one? Let me just see if you know what this is. Okay, last week I stood atop the Continental Divide. You know what that means and what the Continental Divide is.
Sell.
Okay, because I didn't know either. I didn't know either, dude. So what that involved is it involved going up on driving up a weird mountain pass with no guardrails on the side and stuff like that. It was real scary to the top of the highest mountain that you could see all around, and then you get on a tram that takes you up even higher to the top of that mountain, right? Mm-hmm. And you can stand on it. You can stand and you have a 360 panoramic view of everything. What the Continental Divide is, it's this spot in America. It goes up and down the Rocky Mountains where all the watershed from one side on the west side of the mountain all goes down to rivers that go into the Pacific. And on the other side, all the water goes down into the Atlantic Ocean or the Gulf of Mexico or the Arctic Ocean. Wow. So you're like at the top spot. It was an awesome thing to see.
I gotta look that up after the show. I didn't know that.
I was scared as hell. I was shaking. On the drive and just being up there on it. I was shaking like a leaf. I wouldn't let my kids get over too close to take photos. But yeah, man, I'll never forget it. But I think I have a fear of heights. Anyway, but yeah,
I don't have a fear of heights. I have a fear of falling off of very tall places. The height's not the problem for me. It's the potential of the fall. All right, I got a fun question for you. For guys, the first time you guys are joining the show, because I know there's a lot of people who are new to it. When we do buy or sell, we do a lot of serious questions, and we throw in a couple of fun ones just to have some fun and laughs. So don't think yes. Then we'll get back to the serious sports stuff. But here we go. I got buy or sell for you. People with multiple bumper stickers on their car are somewhat deranged. Buy or sell?
Do they have to be on the bumper, or are we talking back window stickers too?
You know what? You can answer the question however you want.
I think the multiple bumper stickers makes you deranged. I think you can have two window stickers.
Two window stickers.
I think maybe one on each side. I have two window stickers on the back of mine, and one is just because I have these coolers that I love that I use all the time, and they're called Orca coolers. They're made in America. I think they're better than Yetis, and everybody has the Yeti cooler, so I want to have my Orca cooler. And then I also have I want to rep the Orca stuff in the face of all this Yeti. And then I also have a picture of an axis deer, right? I just always want to be reminded about, man, why I love doing this, the things I love to do, and I love seeing it on there. So that's all I have on my car. I don't think that I'm deranged. So I think, but I have thoughts in myself. Like if I put anything else on here, I will start to look like a complete old cat lady type of person. So I would say two is okay. So multiple, I won't buy. Any more than two, I will buy.
Okay, fair. I think like this. I think if you want to say your kid is on honor roll, fine, right? You're one of that's one thing. If you were in the service, cool. Like you want to represent, the military branch that you were in, got no problems with that. If you want to support police unions and things like that, I guess some of the civic stuff I'm totally down with. But some of the stuff that you just want to be funny or witty is weird. And then obviously, then we know the people who just cover their entire backs. That person I know is like cat lady person.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But you can definitely tell what they're into. They let you know what they're into. It's easy for a cop to profile one of those people for sure.
Cheers to that too.
All right, I think that we probably have enough time for a couple more.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How about this one? Buy or sell. You've never seen a meltdown on Orange Bloods that rivals the meltdown that occurred yesterday on Texags.
The Kansas meltdown was pretty bad.
You were here for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Was that the Charles Omenihu throwing his helmet?
Yep.
That was an awful game.
There was that. So there's three major meltdowns that I remember since my tenure here. I was here from Charlie's first year until now. Okay, so 2014.
So were you? No, you weren't. So you weren't here for the Red Banquet.
No, that was right before me.
Whenever Mac Brown,
yeah. So that has to be like the biggest, right?
Sabotage the recruiting class. Right.
There's three major meltdowns that I've noticed since I've been here. The first was the Kansas loss. No. First was the Swoops taking the lead over Bichelle. Then there was the Kansas loss. That was the first one. And then the beard thing I don't remember was as big. But
yes.
that was a kind of a big one too, right? That was a big one.
Lots of discussion about the actual allegations, lots of discussion about the girlfriend, the house.
Yeah,
So there was a whole chapter.
Well, I think I would say I would sell on this because I've seen some pretty good Orange Bloods meltdowns. I've seen some really good ones actually over the years.
So you're gonna say that you don't think that them losing their coach the day after playing the national championship to Texas?
It's pretty major. It's pretty major. You said I've never seen a meltdown on Orange Bloods that rivals it.
Rivals it. Okay.
That's I'm like, I've seen some good meltdowns.
Got it. It can. You're not saying that you've seen better. You've seen, but
correct.
But they definitely might be better, and they certainly at least rival it.
No, this is worse.
Okay.
This is like losing them to your rivals as they get ready to go into the SEC, and you got to see them all the time. Like, yeah, that's and especially for Texas A&M that doesn't want to be known as little brother, to actually have to live a reality where you are little brother. That's pretty damn bad. I don't know what's worse than that. Like, there's certain things that are embarrassing. But to actually have to have your rival, it's like someone stealing your girl, and then you still have to see them like every couple of years at events. Every year, multiple times a year, you got to see them at events.
Yeah,
that's pretty damn bad,
dude. You gotta, sit across the, see him over at the other table every couple months at the various. The various brunches and things like that. Okay, no thanks.
So thinking of this, all right, Alex. Thinking of this weekend, Alex, is the countdown to the SEC. Right, there's going to have the party that's on. Sunday.
That's coming up, huh? Okay,
yeah, that's Sunday. I want to know, Alex, buy or sell? Can you name more than 3 Pitbull songs? Because Pitbull will be there entertaining the crowd on Sunday. You can name more than 3 Pitbull songs. Buy or sell, Alex?
I gotta cover up the chat because they'll probably start saying them. Onward, I can't name one. Does he sing something? Does he sing "Turn Down" for what?
No, that's Lil Jon.
What does Pitbull look like again?
he's Cuban.
Oh,
He's a Cuban from usually wears sunglasses the majority of his performances.
I have no. That's it. I can't name one Pitbull song. Can you?
No, I can name. I know his songs. I know the songs. I don't know the name of him. He's more corporate nowadays than anything else.
Let me look at so Pitbull wiki. Let me just see.
I know his song like Up in the Club VIP P to the I to, like I know the songs, but it's been his
years. most famous song. Well, hold on. So I don't know these songs, man.
Just name his chart toppers.
He MIAMI. So I guess that the lead single being Kulo.
Oh yeah,
Back up, Toma. That's Nasty featuring Little John.
Oh yeah.
Nuestro Himno with Wyclef Jean.
Wyclef Jean.
Wyclef Jean. Okay. I don't know. Holla at Me. I don't know. I Know You Want Me.
Oh, you know that one. I know you want me. You know you want cha. I know you want me. I know you want cha.
I'm not sure how
One,
much.
2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. No.
Pitbull's an interesting looking fella. Okay. Well, anyway.
Well, Alex, you have your chance to check him out on Sunday for free.
I'll be on an airplane on Sunday.
Okay.
You're getting out on Sunday too, right? Just so that people know.
Yeah, I think I may make sure maybe hang around on Monday. I actually, just so Catch doesn't have to do the show solo unless he's just giving us the whole week off.
Yeah, so so everybody knows Anwar will be around the rest of this week. I don't want to speak for Anwar, but I think you're.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the rest of this week, and then next week I'm headed to DC.
Yeah, and then I'll be in the Bahamas. Hey, Anwar, buy or sell this. It's going to be hotter in the Bahamas than it is here in Texas.
Sell.
Do you like? It's over by Florida. Do you know?
Yeah, but I mean, you're closer to the water. There's got to have some sort of cooling effect, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I certainly
that's all I'm thinking. That's all I'm thinking.
Well, you go on buy or sell. Do you want to toss one more out, or do you want to tell the people where they can find us? And
let's do one more. Let's do one more real quick. We almost got 1,200 people here in the chat.
All right, let's see. I just got to ask you this.
Okay.
We're 2 months out from the absolute heart of fantasy football draft season. You're excited about fantasy football this year, and you also think Catch will not quit his own league.
Sell.
Okay. Are you selling because
I'm not excited about fantasy football at all.
Okay.
Not that it has nothing to do with you. What you do. My life has changed so much that I've got kids I don't have time to manage a roster from pre-draft and
waiver claims every Tuesday night and waiver orders.
I can't get on Fantasy Pros and do mock drafts all day long.
Yeah.
I can't you guys do. I can't look on Roster Watch and then get to a draft and all that and then manage a team, waiver wires, trades, like all that, like, and then set lineups. I don't Prize Picks has really made my life easier. I love Prize Picks. I love just being able to figure out, okay, this is what I want to do today or Friday, set my lineups, and then go from there. It makes it much more easier than actually trying to manage a team, which is, I just don't have the time. And I think Catch likes Prize Picks, and I think Catch is walking away. I think me beating him in a championship game is enough for him to say he never wants to do it again.
We're gonna have to get somebody else to commish that league and change some of the stupid rules.
I'm out too. I'm retired too. Alex.
Yeah. I don't think that league will have any trouble staying afloat. Okay. You got one more for me, or is that?
Yeah. Let me just do one for you. One more. I got I got an interesting one. I've had this one in queue for like actually I'm gonna ask you this one. I've had this in queue for weeks. Okay. Buy or sell, Shane Buechele will have a longer NFL career than Sam Ehlinger.
When was Buechele's rookie season? And so because Ehlinger is coming into his third year, right? So Buechele.
I believe so. Yeah.
So Shane Buechele, he was with the Chiefs. Oh wait, he was with the Bills last year.
Yeah, Bills last year.
Okay, so he was 2021. So that's the same as Ellen. So they're the same age. Is that right? So let me just make sure.
It should be about.
It shouldn't be much different.
Yeah.
And you have to think is that Ehlinger still now is with the Colts.
Yeah.
He's behind Anthony Richardson, but I'm not sure that he would play if Anthony Richardson got hurt, which is something that is more likely with him than others, just because he's so prone to run. They did sign Joe Flacco onto the roster that would go if he was unable to go, right? So I think Flacco is second team, Ehlinger's third team. But with that being said, that's a pretty fragile first and second team, right? Richardson, he's only played 4 games healthy in the NFL. Flacco's super, super, super old. So Ehlinger could play. I'm only going over this because the likelihood of each guy getting on the football field, we know that signed long-term in Buffalo is Mitchell Trubisky to back up Josh Allen. So you figure that Trubisky, MVP Mitch would probably I think it's a less likely pathway to playing time for Shane Buechele, which I think would lengthen his career more. And I think Sam Ehlinger.
Has Sam Buechele ever played in an NFL game?
I think that Sam Ehlinger, Sam has.
Yeah.
I don't know if Buechele has, but we're talking about NFL careers. Both of these guys' careers as perennial backups.
Correct.
And I think that Sam probably has more of a chance of playing more and getting hurt. So I'm gonna buy that Buechele has a longer NFL career.
There are guys, as you know, Alex, who make 10-year careers or more as being a backup. The McCowns were a great example until Josh started to play, but Luke was one of them. The former Cowboys coach, can't think of his name.
Which one?
The Cowboys coach was a career backup.
Jason Garrett.
Yeah, Jason Garrett, career back. Like they're guys who basically are they hold clipboards.
Look at all these guys. Look at Kevin O'Connell for the Kevin O'Connell. It's like Shane Steichen, like all these dudes. Like they took Kellen Kellen Moore. There are all a ton of these. Dave Canales. A lot of these guys are ex backup quarterbacks, and they say that sometimes the guys that are like the backups that they sit around more with the coaches and just learn stuff, and they're in there, they're just learning, they're taking all the mental reps, they're doing all this stuff, and they say that the people who are just the awesomest quarterbacks, they don't turn into good coaches because they just go out there and do it, and they can't explain it. It's the ones who have to say, like, okay, this is how I have to process it. This is how I have to explain it. I have to throw it here because this and this and this and this. When you're super awesome, you just do it. It's the guys that have to figure it out who are just good enough to kind of be at that precipice of being a backup. They're the ones who can explain what's going on because they can't just do it. So yeah, man. Both those guys should have good careers. I certainly hope so for Sam's sake, for sure.
Hey, I know we're running a little bit over, but we did have a super chat that came in here real quick, so I want to make sure I put that up here. He wants us to know Pitbull is 1 hour of pressed white pants, sunglasses, and Spanglish. It's going to be awesome.
Well, all right. That sounds like what Anwar was just doing down for his last week in Mexico. Something kind of like
yeah. Yes, it is. People definitely go. It's gonna be hot as Hades out there, but people are going to enjoy themselves and have a great time. Alex, I appreciate you. We'll be back here tomorrow. One thing I would always tell you guys: live each day like it was your last Monday. It will be, and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're here for you all the time.
Now, you can email me, alex@rosterwatch.com. You can follow us on X at Anwar Richardson, at Alex Dunlap NFL. You can find all of our Longhorns content at orangebloods.com, where if you're not signed up, what the heck are you doing? We love all you guys in the chat, man. We thank you for being here. We're here every day, so make sure to like the show, subscribe to the channel. Thanks to the 1,200 of you that are now in the Specs chat line. Thanks so much to Specs. Thanks so much to Texas Beef Traders. Thanks so much to Eric Sells Homes. DFW. Go out today, man. Go have some fun today. Go do something cool today. Do something big, man. For Anwar, I'm Alex. We'll see you guys tomorrow.